Hey there and welcome back. I'm Kristen Galloway, a licensed occupational therapist and dementia care specialist. Today I'm really excited because I want to talk about meaningful activities for individuals with dementia. Why are they important and how do we come up with them, right? As caregivers, we're already really busy. How are we going to come up with all these great new ideas for engaging activities? So I got your back and we're going to dive right in. But before we do, be sure to give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this content and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future updates. Alrighty, let's go. Why are meaningful activities so important for individuals with dementia? Well, meaningful activities are typically based on things that we have done past in our life, whether they were leisure activities or work-related activities, or even just our life's work, right? If someone was a homemaker and they were responsible for raising children and taking care of the home and all of the household chores, all of those things can be meaningful activities, right? So this is really about what is meaningful to that person, right? So this is going to be very individualized, and that's how we're going to start. But why meaningful activities? Why is it important versus just sticking a board game in front of someone or a book of puzzles or a coloring sheet? Why do we have to individualize it? Well, the things that we do daily in our lives, over the course of our lives, are the things that define us as human beings. They define us as individuals. They give us our sense of self, our sense of meaning, and our sense of worth, our self-identity. And so tapping back into these things and creating these meaningful experiences for someone with dementia will help them be calmer, happier, have a better mental outlook. And then these things are very engaging, so it gets them to participate. So that's why I'm so excited to share with you some ideas on generating meaningful activities that are targeted towards the person that you are working with. So the first category is self-care and grooming. These are things that a lot of us take for granted. We just kind of go through our morning routine. We get showered, get dressed, put on our makeup, fix our hair. We don't really give it a second thought. It's almost like a chore to a lot of us. But if you think about it, part of our identity is very much how we look. And how we look often affects how we feel. So for individuals with dementia, maybe taking a few minutes to help them file their nails or put on some pretty nail polish, groom their beard or their hair, putting on lotion, something that smells nice, and having that nice deep input to the hands and forearms that just feels good. Those things that we often take for granted as far as self-care and grooming can be very meaningful activities for someone with dementia. The next category is household tasks. And again, this is another category that you and I as caregivers or younger adults maybe think of as chores. But they're also a part of making us who we are, helping us feel accomplished. I know if my house is messy or things are out of place, I feel a little bit disorganized and a little bit kind of anxious. So if I wasn't able to participate in, making sure that my laundry was in the right place or making sure that all my dishes were clean and put away, I would feel a lot out of sorts, not just a little bit, but a lot. And so sometimes having someone with dementia participate in helping us maintain a clean and organized house is really useful. Having them help us to prepare a meal. Meals are a very important part of who we are. Food is culture, it's very individual, and so preparing a meal that's going to be shared socially can be a really nice way to get someone with dementia involved. It can also be something that you can really adjust very easily based on their ability levels, which part of the task you ask them to help with. So make it something that's enjoyable for them, but it's also safe and something that fits into their current ability level. They can also help with gardening around the house. They can help with sorting supplies. Perhaps you have a drawer in your office or a drawer in the kitchen that just has a lot of stuff in it. Paper clips need to be sorted out and organized. We need to put the rubber bands over here. That can be a really nice way for them to participate and feel like they're really helping out as well. Folding laundry is another great chore, or even just sorting it into lights and darks, depending on what their abilities are. Those can be really nice ways for someone with dementia to help and feel like they're contributing to what's going on in the house. The third category is creative activities, and this again is very individualized. It's going to be something that depends on what the person with dementia enjoys or has enjoyed previously. If they were a creative person and they enjoyed painting, or drawing or coloring. Those are great activities. They work on fine motor skills, hand-eye coordination. They require us to think in a creative context and come up with an idea of what we want to draw. If that's a little beyond their reach at this point, you can certainly have pre-done coloring sheets or painting activities that they can just fill in. Modeling with clay, or if that's too messy, Play-Doh is a great way to get, again, some hand strength, some hand movement, some hand-eye coordination, dexterity. Also, and again, just tapping back into that creative potential. What do they want to create with their hands using this medium? And finally, maybe playing a musical instrument. Is there something that they did in the past that they can still do? Can they play the piano? Are they able to play the guitar? If not, can we shake some shakers or maracas to a music that's playing in the background? So lots of ways to get creativity and participation and enjoyment there. The fourth category is social activities. Now, again, depending on the level of the person with dementia and what their capabilities are, perhaps going out for a meal, either with a family or just with one individual, like a caregiver or family member. If that's a little bit beyond their ability level, you could certainly do a family dinner at home, or maybe an afternoon tea. Group crafts or games are a great way to get social. So pulling out a board game that's suitable to their abilities, or even a card game. And if they're not able to follow directions and play a card game anymore, you could simply flip the cards over and maybe play like a game of war, whose has the higher number. So typically that's something that they can do for quite a while as well. Social, we can talk about it, we can engage in conversation while we're doing these activities, and that's what makes it social. And again, singing or dancing or reminiscing to music or photos is another great way to get social with someone with dementia. The final category is sensory activities. And again, I've had other videos on how important sensory activities can be for individuals with dementia. And of course, I'll link that in the comments of this video as well. But sensory activities can be anything from arranging and smelling flowers to playing with or petting a pet, like a dog or a cat, or even using a stuffed pet, like one of the ones that I'll link again also in this description. Another great sensory intervention is sorting, again, like we talked about earlier in the household chores, sorting activities that require us to reach in and grab a handful of something and sort it into different parts. That requires tactile input. A fidget blanket that has snaps or laces or zippers or different textures on it. Fidget blankets are a great way to keep hands busy, but also to get some sensory input and some cognitive stimulation. So there are some ideas, 5 different categories of meaningful activities that you can kind of explore and think about what might be fun and engaging for the individual with dementia that you work with. If you have any other ideas, I'd love to hear about them. Drop me a comment, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much for joining me.